Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's such a fun one. You can find us on television. It's syndicated, found on Abundant Television, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget all the social media sites we have. Also, we have a podcast. It's on thenewscasters.com, and I have just joined the ranks of TikTok. I don't know why it took me so long, but you can just I haven't had time. It's been one of those things. And we are celebrating 20 years. It was 20 years this month when the first show started, and a friend of mine, Tom, he owned a television station. And so Tom said, I'm going to start a noontime show. And I said, awesome. So I was thinking about one of my friends, and I said, you need to let her do that because she's so awesome. And she had been in television for years, been a newscaster, talk show host, the whole works. He said, no, actually, you're going to do it. And I started laughing, and I was like, yeah, right. I'll not remember my name. I'll get up there and I'll do a freeze. It'll be all in. He said, we're going to record first. It's going to be a live show, but let's just do a recording and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And so really, I'm the type of person, Julia, that I forget what I've had for breakfast this morning. The camera, you get in front of the camera, it changes. I mean, it just really is. I can remember everything in the world. But now, as soon as recordings are done, I'm like, what did I have for lunch? So it's just one of those things. Okay, everybody loves Julia Christine. Is with us today. And so I saw something this morning on Facebook, and I went on ahead and shared it to my story. I just thought it was pretty remarkable because a lot of us have been going through things throughout our entire lifetimes. And I'm finding out, since you and I have been talking, lots of people have been going through stuff. I mean, it's not just me and it's not just you. So this I thought was interesting. It says your enemies will open doors for you. They won't even know that they're opening. By the time they figure it out, they won't have the power to close them. That is so true if you just wait. I mean, if you just wait just a little bit, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to get on Facebook and exploit people. You don't have to do any of that stuff. They'll do it to themselves, and they're actually going to elevate you in the world. So many things have happened in my life that says not my doing because I'm not smart enough to do it. It's because somebody has actually helped me along the way by trying to destroy me.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because you said that and I was like, oh, that's really good. But I have a completely different take on it because I think what we do so often is we put our emphasis on the enemy. And we look at the enemy and what their goals are and what they're doing. And remember, we've talked about this a lot and how we have to label them as a narcissist or as two-faced or about whatever they are. Allow them to be the opportunity. Allow them. They're opening doors for you. That door could just be, this is how not to behave. Or this is how it feels when you behave that way. Or do you know what I mean? And so there are massive things to learn from the people around you. And I truly believe that often people are brought into your life to show you how not to grow. That person is not getting anywhere in life. Interesting. I'm not going to follow that behavior because I want to grow. I want to learn. I'm not going to behave that way. Wow. Interesting. But because it's my journey and this is my life, I don't need to worry about whether or not they're a narcissist or why they behave a certain way. I don't need to label them or worry about them. I just need to know that's not behavior that I'm willing to accept in my life. So I'm going to move on. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? And they've opened that door, an opportunity for me to realize those things. And sometimes they literally give you an amazing opportunity without even realizing it, like you say. I don't believe people intentionally are out to get you. People are intentionally trying to get everything that they can for themselves, and that affects other people, and they don't know how to do it. And that, I mean, literally, when you are so worried about what somebody's thinking about you, they are worried about the exact same thing. Think about how often you think about yourself compared to how often you think about what other people are thinking. You're not alone in that. We all do that, which means that nobody's thinking about you near as much as you think they are.
Yeah, I'm not that important. I mean, I don't think I am.
Love you, mean it, but you're right. Not to somebody else's life. You are absolutely important in your life and in the people's lives who love you. But outside of that, and also then it's like, well, who cares what they think? Because not my problem. So-and-so is mad at me. Who's the subject of that sentence?
Mm-hmm.
Not your problem.
Mm-hmm. It's because everybody has a perception about everything. Some people love trees. They're a tree hugger. I'm kind of one of them.
That's me.
And our plan is more fruit trees. Like we need more trees on this land. But anyway, we just did that past couple of weeks, and here I am planting more trees. Well, some people would say, "Don't you have enough trees?" No, because I want to feed people. You know, like what if we go into a recession or something? You know what I mean?
But even we don't have to doomsday it. We can say, you know what? Planting trees is good for the earth. The earth needs more trees. We need more trees. Trees provide oxygen. We need more trees because I'm going to keep breathing. Ta-da! You know what I mean?
Again, on the other hand, there's sometimes you need to cut a tree down. Okay, if it's hollow on the inside and there's a possibility a thunderstorm can come out and it can knock it on your house, don't degrade me because I cut the elm tree down. The thing's dying, and I want to push out of its business.
Yeah, it's true. And yes, you'll notice I'm not so quick to jump into cutting down trees as I am to planting them. So I absolutely understand.
I will only do it if I have to. I had a store in a shopping center one time, and I loved this tree. I mean, it was just this great big huge tree, and it was right in front of my store window front. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And so this arborist comes out, and he said that tree's gonna have to go. And I was just like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome, and people get to park in the shade. I think that's why I get some customers, because it's the only tree there. And so they use it, and then they think, well, let's go in there and see what she's like. And so I loved the tree being there, but then I understood why. The tree was way over 100 years old.
Right.
And he said, I got to show you something. That tree was hollow. And he said, if just the right wind comes along, it's going to come on your business. It's going to like fall your way, and then you're going to be upset. What if you and a bunch of customers are in there? So, you know, I totally got it, but I was still going.
Yeah, no, it's still sad. And then there are I've literally walked down the neighborhood because, you know, I walk everywhere here in Brooklyn, and had a tree being felled or whatever. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, it's too much maintenance to clean up after the leaves. And I'm like, are you kidding? You're kidding. Like that, I have a problem with.
But look at the mulch. I mean,
there you go.
And then gardening, I'm just telling you, leaves, dead, that's the best fertilizer you can.
See, these people in this city, they're not mulching anything.
Yeah.
They just want a clean sidewalk and not a danger to the people that are walking by.
I get that. So
it's a pain in the butt.
Story. Absolutely. Before we get into the next, we had a wonderful response from a lady, and her name just happens to be Julia as well. And so we're going to talk about that, but let's talk about your podcast and how folks can find you.
Well, you can find me on my website, and which is www.juliachristinehealer.com. You can email me there, or you can just email juliachristinehealer@gmail.com. I am findable on the Life After Breath podcast on any of your podcast listening program, whatever they're called, things. However you listen to your podcast, you should be able to find me there. Life After Breath. And there's a daily podcast. So it's every day for about 10 minutes a day. On Sundays, they're a little bit longer because they're more like, let's get grounded for the rest of the week kind of thing. And it's just about 4 or 5 minutes of me providing motivation on how to live your best life and manifest. I hate using that word, but really invite the things that you want into your life. And then another 4 to 5 minutes of just breathing and kind of connecting to yourself in order to start your day in the best way possible. Some people do it at night to end their day in the best way possible, but to give you some things to think about for your day and little challenges at the end of work on this today. I hate calling it work because it's not work. It's literally just pay attention today and how to do that. So That's me.
Let's talk about another Julia.
Yes, please.
She sent an email, and she wanted to mention this because she feels like a lot of people are going through this situation. They don't know what to do. They think their life is ended. So she was in a relationship. They were not married, but she was in a relationship with this guy for over 10 years, and she thought that was the one. Well, he left her. He found somebody else, and she was devastated. She had even thought about suicide. You know, how can I live without him? How can I blah, 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 blah. Well, because this happened, it took a few years. So a few years later, she actually met the right one. And she feels like this person is her soulmate. And this guy had noticed her years ago, but he didn't approach her because he knew she was in a relationship. She said, well, why didn't you break me and this other guy up?
Because that's not the integrity of the man that you want.
No. So now she said, I just thought I was happy with this other guy. And she said, now I am happy. The other guy would not do a commitment. And she wanted to have kids and all this. And she said, because of my priorities, she said, I wanted to be married first, then have kids.
Yeah.
And so this guy never would, he wouldn't, every time she would mention getting married, he would just dodge, dodge it. Yeah. Well, this guy, they've been going together for 2 years, I think she said. And so anyway, they're talking, matrimony.
Amazing.
And for her. So she just wanted to tell people, if you feel like suicide or anything like that because of any relationship, don't. Just wait it out. Wait the storm.
Well, interestingly, this comes back to what we were just talking about. I understand, and I do not want to diminish the feelings of a broken heart, because I've experienced it as well. But like, this comes back to, who are we prioritizing in our life? Are you putting how someone else affects you more in front of you? And so often what we do in a relationship, because we start building, my friend and I like to say that we play the highlight reel of all the things that we love about this person and how amazing they are. But if you allow yourself to, in that moment, look at how maybe they're not as amazing as you've created them to be, they don't have the same goals as you, they don't have the same, desires as you. And if you can, usually afterwards, and after a little bit more of the grieving process, look back and say, you know what? It wasn't as great as I thought it was. I could be happier. And that comes back to paying attention to how you feel. What I said about the podcast, pay attention. How are you feeling? How are the people around you affecting you, or how are you allowing them to affect you and your life? And are you okay with that? Because then you get to draw boundaries and you get to kind of discover what I like to call your truth. What is true for you? What is true for Julia is that she wants a family and she wants, children, and she has these goals and desires for her life. And that other person didn't match up with that. And she tried to make it work for 10 years and they were happy. And I'm not saying that she didn't realize that she wasn't happy. I'm saying that they were happy. But she could be happier because she wants a family and she has these desires. And so I think it's really important to pay attention to that. And I love that. And Julia, I'm sorry that you went through that. I have been on that fence of suicide. So I understand the depths of that pain. And I'm really proud of you for loving yourself enough to get off the fence and to be open to the love of your life. And I think that's amazing, and congratulations, and good for you. And I think it's really important to remember that in our society, we don't normalize breakups. We look at breakups as failures. We look at the end of a business, the end of relationships as failures. But that relationship lasted 10 years. That is not a failed relationship. They learned a lot about themselves and about each other during that relationship. There's no failure in that. And so to be able, and also, like, let's pretend for a second, I'm not saying it was, but let's pretend it was an abusive relationship. She learned from that person, learned from that and got out of that. And so, like, there's a lot of ways to really look at it and realize that, like, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, that it's okay for something to end. Sometimes the end is the least failure part of it. Like in an abusive relationship, getting out of it is the win. Proving your strength, proving you're okay on your own. You know what I mean? And whether it's a relationship or friendships, you don't have to stay. You don't have to have lifelong people. You can, and they're amazing. I don't know if I've heard this before. I was thinking it was Ta-Nehisi Coates, but it's not. It's the guy that he does the Medea movies, Tyler Perry. Yeah, he has a quote about people in your life, and they're speaking of. It's funny how we always come full circle, Donna. Trees, and you have friends that are like branches, and branches break, and they're like twigs and leaves, and they come and they go with the season. And then there are those that are a little bit of a stronger branch, and they're there for a much longer time. But sometimes they need to be removed by your arborist, and sometimes they break in the wind, and that's okay. And the tree doesn't feel that pain. The tree allows it to go. And then you've got your trunk people. You've got your trunk and your roots, and they are your solid with you to the end of time kind of people.
I love that analogy.
And does a tree complain about how the leaves come and go? No, it's a part of life. People are going to come and go in your existence, and that is not just okay, it's beautiful.
It's part of the tree's growth, especially if it's a fruit tree. I mean, if it's a fruit tree, apples, I mean, you have to prune the branches sometimes so that more growth can come out and you get bigger.
Yes.
So if you never pruned it, I mean, you would have lots and lots of oodles of apples. They'd be little bitty ones.
Yes.
There'd be tiny ones and you couldn't eat them.
And exactly. And you don't think twice about that. You prune the tree because it's for the health of the tree. We need to normalize breakups because we need to prune ourselves so that we can be healthier, because the people that are affecting us in toxic manners are behaving, doing their best, and their behavior feels toxic to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need them in your life. And if they're family, that's cool. You might feel a sense of responsibility to have them in your life, but you can distance yourself from them in a way that is healthy for you. That's what a boundary is about your borders. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Be healthy for you. So as for Julia, I'm proud of you and I know it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And good for you, and allow yourself to still be open to the many things that you learned from that relationship, and enjoy the heck out of the fact that you had, I mean, I've never had a 10-year relationship, and that's phenomenal. Like that's a big deal. I love that for you. And I love that you've found someone else to have the rest of the desires of your heart fulfilled.
Well, let me ask you a question. See how you correlate this. Okay, so let's just say, like in Julia's instance here. Okay, so someone wanted to break away and be free. Now, when that person breaks away and they're free, does it give you freedom as well? When you can sit back and see the relationship, because sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees.
Right, absolutely.
And then sometimes, because I've had a relationship like that too,
mm-hmm.
and tried to make it work. I mean, I tried it within Donna's power.
Right.
I tried to make it work, and it just didn't work.
Well, just how you said before, everyone has a different perspective. And you've heard me say this before. That's why I like to say there's no such thing as reality. Because your reality, even of this conversation, is different than my reality of this conversation. Because while we're both talking, our thoughts are going, our minds are going. That is affected by our culture, by how we were raised, by our society, by all of the things. And so it's challenging when you love someone and feel like you know them inside and out to remember that they have their own perspective, even still. And that's what makes us unique and special. And it expands the universe in ways that we can't even fathom, because we have our own perceptions and our own perspectives and our own unique ways of looking at things. So that means when a person, let's just to scenario it out a little bit. Let's pretend that there's a man who seems like a workaholic because he's at work all of the time. And in his mind, he is providing for his family, and he has to keep working because he has a number in mind that they decided on 20 years ago. And the kids they're going to have to go to college, and I got to pay for this, and I got to keep working and working and working. Meanwhile, she's at home taking care of the kids, feeling like I always wanted to go to work and I can't because I'm stuck in this house, and he's never here. I don't have any of his support. He doesn't support me at all. All I'm doing is taking care of these kids by myself. They both have two very different perspectives of the same situation. And when they get together, because he's upset with her because she gets to stay home with the kids all day, he doesn't get to have that relationship with the kids. But she's upset with him because she's got no support from him. She's the only one taking care of the kids. Where is the partnership in this? They both are doing their best for their families, and they have no idea of the other person's. And so when we're talking about relationships and considering the perspectives of others, it's so important to communicate and to say to your partner, I'm really feeling unsupported, and I'm not attacking you, but these are my feelings. This is how our life is making me feel. And then hopefully we can have this conversation before it gets to that heightened sense of like anger between, but even still, this is how our situation is making me feel every day. And I know you love me and that's not your intention. And then his point of view, I am doing everything I can to provide for this family. And for you to not see that as support is triggering for me. And also like, I wish I could be here, but this is why I'm out there. And then she might say, we don't need all that. We need you. And he'd be like, oh, I never thought of that before. It's not just about the money. It's about you being here and caring for me and loving our family in person, not just financially. So maybe don't take that over time. It's okay. We can build our savings a little slower or whatever that is. And he might be able to say, why don't you go take a class on the weekends and go pursue that thing that you, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And none of that would happen. A healthy relationship has to remember that the other person has a perspective that you don't see. And the only way to see that is to talk about it, is to communicate. And remember that no one can make you anything. No one can make you feel something. You react to someone's behavior. And so her reacting to him working all the time, he didn't make her mad. He didn't make her feel that way. His behavior, she allowed that behavior to be interpreted into abandoning the family and not supporting, where in reality, it was done with all the love and support that he thought was the right way to please her, let's say. I mean, this is all hypothetical, but like, do you see what I mean? So perspective.
I see exactly what you mean. And I'm a huge I Love Lucy fan. I love the old 1950s I Love Lucy's. And some of it, I mean, sometimes Ricky just would not let her, you know, she wanted to be a movie star. She wanted to act. So I didn't agree with that part of it. It was like, why is he holding her down like that? You know, blah, blah, blah.
Different era too.
So one day, almost the same scenario happened. So on one of the shows, so she didn't understand what he did. He didn't understand what she did. They decided to swap roles. So what happened is he was doing the house cleaning, keeping up with the baby, doing all this kind of stuff. And she goes to work with Ethel at a candy factory.
Oh, yes.
An episode. She finds out.
Who doesn't know that episode?
so anyway, so they find out what it's like from each other's perspective.
Right.
Now, I understand if you have a career, you can't do that. Okay. I wouldn't be able to do what Phil does on the computer. And I totally, believe me, I'd have everything messed up. And he doesn't want to do what I do.
Right.
So this works out for us and we still get to be together and all that stuff. But sometimes we just have to sit, and what you said about communication is key. Yeah. Because sometimes us women, we feel like we're a nagging woman if we just mention anything. I mean, you know, I don't know if it's just the Southern thing or what, but anyway,
no.
But Phil and I don't look at it that way at all.
Right.
So if there's something and he's not even aware he's doing it, and I'm not even aware I'm doing something,
right,
before we just like to nip it in the bud. I mean, we just want to let's just go ahead and handle it now.
This isn't. I'm having a feeling. Can we talk about that real quick? It doesn't have to be like you're doing this. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be like, okay, things are feeling a little off for me, and here's my perspective of this thing, and I'd like yours. Was there was that your intention behind that statement or behind that, you know, whatever? Because that's the way I took it. And then they get to explain and be like, oh, no, that's not what I meant at all. And it's important to not just laugh it off like, oh, I was just joking. Okay. Oh, I take responsibility. If you've hurt someone, even if it was unintentional, if they took your words and like allowed that to hurt them, then you can say, that was not my intention at all. Like, I literally thought that we were joking about this. Please, like, forgive me, or like that I would never mean that, or whatever. I don't know, whatever the situation is. I think it's interesting too that sometimes communication isn't enough, because sometimes people are in your life for a season, just like the leaves on the tree. I know that I dated a man for 4 years, and in that 4 years, he lost his job and I supported us. I lost my job and he supported us. He lost his mother and I supported him through that. I injured myself and had to stop what I thought was the career of my life. And you know what I mean? And so we supported each other through all of this stuff. And then in our 4th year together, we both got on our feet. He got an amazing job that he was thrilled to be with. I started back into the theater and like was really, really moving towards that. And we literally went our separate ways, even though we were still together. And we just kind of both realized, he realized it first and brought it to my attention. He's like, we are not where we were and who we were. And I was devastated because, similar to Julia, I was like, no. We're getting married. We've talked about our marriage. We've talked about this. We've talked about all this stuff. And like literally he tried to break up with me. And I said, no, we're going to talk more about this when I get back. I was going on a weekend trip and I was furious. And I was like, how could he do this? And I thought we were this and I thought we were that. And then I realized it was like, no, he's absolutely right. And so then because I like told him I didn't want to break up, I got back from my business trip and had to re-break up with him. And it was like, no, you were right. And so it was so interesting because like, he was like, I know, but you want to give it another shot. So I'm willing. And it was like, but we don't need to. Mm-hmm. We were what we needed to be for each other for the 4 years that we needed each other. Mm-hmm. And it was literally time. We were both solid. And it was time for us to move on. And and then I moved to New York and he got married and has 2 beautiful children. And it's like that, there's nothing wrong with that. It was exactly what I needed and what he needed. And neither of us knew it in the moment. It's okay for people to come and go. We have to normalize that people are in our lives for a reason. And like I said, sometimes that's so that we can look at them and be like, that is not who I want to be. That is not behavior I want to emulate. And sometimes it's so that we can support each other and learn from each other. And we've talked about this. I have a friend who I have known for over 25 years. We were best friends. We got through a lot of crap together, highs and lows, the whole thing. I mean, her children call me aunt. You know what I mean? Like, and there came a time where it was like, oh, we got to stop. And it was just like that outfit. That warm, cozy sweater that was my relationship with this beautiful woman didn't fit anymore. It got itchy. It didn't feel good anymore. And it felt better when I took it off. Mm-hmm. And that was hard. 25 years. And again, because we don't normalize friendships moving on, it was really hard to take off. I think about her almost every day. I love her so much. But we don't need to be in each other's lives anymore. And that's okay.
Well, sometimes it's
quite beautiful.
How many friends do you have that, okay, you haven't seen each other for 10 years, and then you see each other again. It's almost like you've not had that 10-year separation.
100%. And that's a completely different kind of relationship. I have a beautiful friend in California. I have several beautiful friends in California who I never talk to. I'm not a big social media person anymore. And so I don't really check in with them. But if I go to California and I say, hey ladies, I'm in town, we get together and it's like, it was like we saw each other yesterday, except that we talk about catching up stuff and how things are going. And then after that, it's like nothing changed. We are who we are and we love each other. And then we go and it's years again before we talk. And it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't, just like relationships with a partner, it doesn't have to be the Disney version. It doesn't have to be all sunshine and roses and clouds and unicorns. You know what I mean? Like it's not, it doesn't have to be by the book. Allow things to be what they are and decide how you want to behave in a relationship. I know that they would respond if I reached out. They do respond when I reach out. But we don't need to contact each other on a daily basis. And then there's one in particular who I talk to just about every single day. And 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but we check in and it's what we do. And it's our relationship. They're not all going to be the same. They're not going to look the same. They're not going to feel the same. And that is beautiful too. We're all different.
I'm going back to trees again. So let's, because this all fits.
100%.
What you just said fits. Okay, so you talked about not necessarily going by the book. Okay, so Phil and I, we have like 8 acres of land here. And so the lady who was here previously, she was a gardener. I mean, I don't know if she was a horticulturist. I don't know what she was. Anyway, she knew what she was doing. So husband was sick for several years, so she didn't get to tend to all these plants and what have you. So she has muscadine grapes. This thing. And they are like actually I found three through this land that she had,
Wow.
that she had taken care of. Well, she didn't get to do that for several years.
Oh.
So they got overgrown. So luckily, I took a Master Gardener's class through Auburn University. And what I learned from that is I'll never know it all about gardening.
That's true about anything, but yes.
I mean, it's just the way it is. So as a matter of fact, if you go to a nursery and you say, I'm a Master Gardener through, they kind of back off. They think you're a know-it-all. And I go, no, wait a minute, because that happened here in Abbeville. So I said, no, wait, I learned enough to know I know nothing. It changes constantly. Okay, so don't be intimidated by that. So anyway, so Phil said, well, what are we going to do with this? And I said, oh, it's beautiful. Look at the because with grapes, with muscadines, grapes, you have a trunk. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to train it to go out on the top. So it does this. And you have beautiful grapes. It will just, but you've got to trim off the bad stuff.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of it. But I didn't necessarily go by the rules on this particular couple of them. And I'm glad I didn't, because it didn't feel right. It was almost like I'm in communication with this muscadine grape. I'm in communication with it.
You absolutely are.
I told Phil said, now remember what you learned in class is, it needs to be like this. I said, but I'm not feeling it. I feel like I need to leave some of this because it had been it's been years since these things have been taken care of. And it's just the overgrowth. So I trimmed off some parts and I left other parts that typically you would trim off. I didn't trim them off, and we're already seeing the growth out of it. And it's only been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't go necessarily the way it's supposed to be. I'm glad I didn't necessarily go by the rules on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next year I will. But I just felt like it needed some of that.
It needed more. Some of those parts of the branches that you didn't feel like you should cut off needed more nurturing. And you were willing to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's not that those parts were bad. It's that those parts were like, for lack of a better word, like dead weight. And it was weighing the plant down, the vines down. And so you have to get rid of that. It's not because it's bad. That's why people talk about like people being negative or negative energy. And it's like, no, there's no such thing. Let's get that out of our head. There's no such thing as negative energy. There's just energy that doesn't work for me. There's just energy that if I take on is dead weight, like those extra bits of the plant. And so you take them off and you take them off. And some of those relationships that feel like dead weight, but you just can't let go of them, nurture them a little bit more. They might grow for a little bit longer. They also might not, because some of those things that you didn't cut off might not grow, but some of them will. And so then okay, I've put extra effort into this. I'm going to go ahead and trim this now because it's not going to be fruitful for me. But these have reblossomed and I love this. Do you know what I mean? Like
I do, but see, I've got a whole new idea about this. So the original trunk is there. It is kind of dying because you're seeing cracks and stuff within that. Mm-hmm. However, I feel like some of the growth that we left is going to turn into the original trunk. I just feel like that's going to happen.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I don't know how that works because I'm not you've met me in person. I don't know anything about gardening. I can barely keep my air plants alive.
I just go by what feels good, and it just feels. Yeah, and I think you have to communicate. Some people think you're some kind of a freaking weirdo because you communicate with animals and plants and stuff like that. But I don't.
Everything is energy.
I feel that way, and I just feel like no, I gotta listen to that plant.
Yeah.
And I talk to them.
You watch the bake shows, they listen to their bread. So like it's talking to me. Is it? No. You're hearing the air move through the thing. But a tree or a plant, absolutely it's speaking to you. And there's more and more scientific evidence backing that. So you are absolutely communicating and communing with your garden.
We've got to go into a commercial break. When we come back, you and I are going to get stoned.
I'm in. I'm just kidding.
We'll be back in just a minute. Everybody hang in there. Julia and I are going to be stoned. Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they have been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. Or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m., and that is on the Eastern Time Zone. And you can find the Central just a little bit later than that at 1 p.m. But again, thank you so much for watching. And also thank you so much for the emails. You don't know how that, I'm just telling you, you're not bothering me. It makes my day. And I'm sorry, sometimes it takes me a little bit of while to respond. And because we get so many, but you know what? I go to all of them eventually. And it just makes it, because sometimes you think, am I doing anything that's making a difference in anybody's life? Because that's what I want my life to be. And so am I actually helping anybody at all? I say, yeah, because we have fabulous guests. And Julia Christine is one of them. And
thank you.
Guys, several of you over the past few weeks have sent emails and text about stones, and are there healing stones? Are there, and sometimes if you're a Christian and you say they're healing stones, people think you're wacky. And they say that it's not Christian-like. So, well, I got to tell you, I'm a Christian, and I'm just telling you, I love my moonstone. I really do. My idea about this, Julia, is I think God gives us these tools to use to heal.
100%. 100%. Absolutely. I think that it's kind of like that. This is an analogy that I've heard so many different ways and so many different times, but there was a big flood and this man was on the top of his roof and a rowboat came by and he kept praying, God, please save me, please save me. And a rowboat came by and he was like, thanks so much, but no, God's going to save me. And that person left and then a helicopter came and they were like, we're here to save you. And he was like, no, thanks, God's going to save me. And then the man died and then he gets to heaven and he's like, God, why didn't you save me? And he's like, I sent you this, and this. There's only so much I can do. And I think that's really important for us to remember that, like, not only does God provide all of these different things, but also, like, we got to do it. I had a friend who asked me for some guidance, some spiritual guidance, and I was literally given exactly what she needed to do. And it was like, this is what you need to do. And she wouldn't do it. And that's cool. And that's okay. And God and the universe, source, whatever terminology you use, was okay with that because we do have freedom of choice. We have that. It's our lives to live. And that's what they want from us. That's what God wants for us, is to live our lives. And if you want guidance, here it is. And then she came back to me a couple of weeks later. She's like, could I get some more advice? And I was like, sure. What do I do about this? I was like, we've already told you what to do about this. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't done it yet. So do that. And then we'll see what happens next. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's only so much that God can give you. You got to live. You got to take those steps. You've got to move forward and use the resources that he or they or she or whatever you say has provided for you, whether that's stones or trees or whatever that is. And truly, I talk about this book a lot. There's an amazing book called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I believe what she lays everything out for you. You have the power within yourself to heal your body from anything and everything. I mean, I've practiced it. It is true. Our cells, when we are born into this physical life, are in tune and so connected with what I call source energy, but with God. We are an extension of God. And all of our cells are in tune with that. And then we are influenced and affected, not infected, by the world around us, whether that's how we eat, whether it's the toxicity of other people's behavior, whatever that is. And so our cells conform to those things. But our cells want to be back to that space that they initially came into this existence, like being and doing. And that is to be completely connected to that source, to God, to the universe. And because of that, it is absolutely within you to get back and to 100% and to heal your own body and to heal your own mind. And you can use other things to help you get there. I like to look at medication as something to give you a baseline so that then you can, I hate using this terminology, but do the work of coming back to health. Whether that's releasing past trauma, whether that is clipping off those dead ends, the things that no longer serve you. You can heal your life. And sometimes it is really helpful to have a stone to put against your chest, to rub against your forehead, to sleep with at night. I know people believe like turquoise. I wear a turquoise ring. And I think it was even Tony Robbins. It was some like big person who goes on the circuit and talks to people. And he was talking about his turquoise ring and how turquoise absorbs negative energy. And that's why it has those cracks in it. And when a turquoise cracks, it's because it's absorbed all the negative energy it can and has protected you from that. And he believes that to his core and has gone through 2 or 3 rings. Personally, I don't believe in negative energy. So I'm not sure that that's what turquoise is doing for you. But at the same time, he believes it and it protects him and he feels protected. And so he is, because he is anyway. But now he believes something that is helping him have that protection. And that's okay, because he's going to move in his best way forward and helping the people that he's talking to through that belief. And so when you talk about something, you know, people believing that that's wonky or that that's evil, it's just a belief and it's someone else's belief.
I don't believe that at all, because if you believe the Bible, and I had this discussion with someone, and by the way, I don't argue with people. I mean, they have their beliefs and I have my beliefs.
100% perspective.
I will say. So this person's like, I'm really weird because I love moonstone. There's something about that smooth stone that just relaxes me.
It's beautiful.
I can just do this, and I created this, by the way.
It's gorgeous.
So, and you just touch it. That's all you have to do. Animals. I mean, animals, you just rub their fur, and there's something soothing about that. So, pruning a tree, and you see the fruit that comes off of that tree. There's something healing about that. But this is what I said to her. I said, you believe in the Bible, right? You believe in Jesus and everything the Bible says. She said, oh, yeah, I do. And I said, well, what are your thoughts about when you go to heaven, the streets of gold, the walls made of jasper? What are your thoughts about that? Is that an evil thing? And she goes, oh, no, I guess. And I said, well, we just got a little bit of that here on earth that we can touch. I mean, she had a diamond ring.
So see, that's the thing, is because we've monetized all that stuff. And then we think about money being evil and possessions being evil and all of those things. And it's like, no, let's pretend that there is no evil. And it's just what people desire, like what people desire. And like, for me, we've talked about this before, money is energy and money is a magnifier. If you are going to manipulate people and like be only out for yourself, the more money you have, the more that's going to magnify. And if you are generous and kind and want to help everybody, the more money you have, the more of that you're going to do. Money is a magnifier. And when we can stop attaching judgment literally to these things,
that's it.
That then we're gonna honestly, you're gonna be able to be free of that and of those ideas, and you're gonna be able to enjoy the things that God has provided us in this earth. I was telling you before that as far when it comes to the stones, there's so many. Natural history museums have like rooms full of these gemstones that you've never even heard of before. And like, we have our rubies and our emeralds and our diamonds and the sapphires and all of those things, and they're freaking gorgeous, but there's so much more. And the earth is insane. It's incredible. You said that this is just a little bit of what is promised for heaven. There is so much here. Like, let's enjoy it here. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's like, another thing. Don't just wait. I mean, enjoy it now. I mean,
enjoy the beauty of God's creation, right? I mean, like, if that's your belief system, then like get in on that and enjoy that. There are so many different things, and if you're interested in like what the different healing stones are and which stones heal what and do things like that, you can Google it. And I know that sounds so ridiculous, but I am not a stone practitioner. I don't use healing stones in my practice. And so as a result, I don't have all that information in my brain or at my fingertips. I do wear a clear crystal. It's called a crystal quartz, actually. And it's just little, and it sits against my chest every day. I also have another clear crystal or clear quartz against my skin at all times, because clear quartz is a balancer. It's like one of those things that it helps you physically, mentally, and spiritually, and it like cleanses and it amplifies energy. So because I do a lot of I use energy in my healings. And so I want to amplify my energy and the energy of the universe to be able to help people. And so that's why the clear quartz, the crystal quartz, has become so important to me in my life. It's something that I encourage people to use to help balance out those ebbs and flows. I have some stones and I have some things around, largely because I like them. And I know they represent different things, but I don't know. I have some onyx that is supposed to be really powerful. And like people tell me, oh my gosh, this is obsidian, and obsidian does da 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 da. And I'm like, that's so cool. I bought it because it's pretty.
That's it. But sometimes it's just color. I mean, think about this. Okay, so I love yellow because
yellow is hope.
Sunflower. It's so happy. I mean, it's always, but now sometimes I want to wear black onyx.
Yeah.
It just really, so colors kind of give you a mood, like, and I love blue because blue makes me think of the beach. And it's calming. So when I feel like I need to be calmed down just a little bit, I go into the blue room and I hang out.
Yeah.
So I have different color rooms.
So now here's the thing about colors. I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you. I just am really excited.
Go.
So as I mentioned, I use energy in my healings. And so when I do like a healing session, we should do a healing session so that you have experience.
I'd love it.
I talk the whole time and allow, and so it's very visual and imaginative. And so colors are really important so that you can see what's happening. And so like a pale blue, I call it like a Cinderella dress blue, is actually peace and calm. And so a lot of times, like if somebody's in a stress situation, I'll just lay a blanket of like light blue over their heads or whatever that is. Yellow is hope, which is amazing and totally makes sense that you love yellow. And and there's like turquoise is joy. And you know what I mean? And so there's different shades of green that mean different things. There's different shades of these colors. And again, you can look all of this up, but usually I'll see a color and I'll be like, oh, and then I'll feel it. And that's how I come into understanding. And I just want to say one thing, because you talked about black onyx, and we have a tendency based on generations of information that black equals darkness equals negative equals evil. I want you to remember that darkness is not evil and black does not mean negative. Black is actually a very powerful color and represents strength. And so when you want some extra strength, imagine yourself with a black cape on or something like that, or put your black onyx on. And because black is power. And the thing is that, is strength. And I had a friend say to me once, because I hadn't come into everything that I do now. And I was really struggling because I was visualizing some stuff and I just kept seeing darkness, and I equated darkness with evil. And so I was talking to a friend and he said, Julia, a new day. When you think of a new day, you think of a new start, you think of all of this positive stuff. What does a new day mean to you? And I started listing like the sun rising and like all of these amazing things and a fresh start and feeling good about what's to come. And he goes, cool. What time is it when a new day begins? It's midnight. And what is it? Is it light or is it dark outside? And it was like, oh my gosh, the light literally comes from the dark. And so and so when you remember that all these amazing things start in darkness, that's everything. And so we can
and the same thing works for a seed. Yes.
Say that again.
Think about a seed. Okay, when you plant
I was thinking that
seed, then you finish it because I do this all the time. I do not put a seed in the sunlight.
No.
You got to put water in there. And you got to put water, and you got to put a cover over it because it'll kill that poison seed.
And the thing is that we can talk about this, and here we are. Like I said, we like to come full circle, and boy, are we in this episode, because I'm telling you, between the seed and the seasons and everything, there is a darkness and there is a lightness, and we have to have both. We have to, and we have to winter. We have to rest. We have to. And
As
then
much as I like wintertime, we have to.
we have to. And also, let's figure out how to like wintertime, because it is amazing and it is healing. It is nurturing. It is very feminine energy, because it is that care. It is coming inside and feeding yourself and having that soup and hibernating. And then the sun comes out. I mean, it's what the trees do. It's what the animals do. They let go of the old and they kind of energize and rest for these few months. And then, like, literally our new year should not be in January, because you're in the middle of winter in January. You're in the middle of the dark. And so spring, when things start to blossom and bloom, that's when our new year is. That's when things start to grow, and there's so much possibility, and we clean out the house and we clean out our systems, and then we're ready for summer. And summer is bright and beautiful and active, and we don't eat as much, and we're out and we're up longer and all of this stuff. And then it's winter again, because now it's time to rest, because we were so active in the summer. And so, like, when you think about it, there is an ebb and flow. There is a cycle, or what, like, the ancient Chinese wisdoms talk about, there is a yin and a yang. And that is so important. Don't discount darkness because it's evil. It is not. It is where the light actually comes from. And like you said, from a seed, I actually was thinking, first I thought seed, but like I said, I do not have green thumbs. I thought about birth. In the womb, it is dark in there. And that is where all of the growth in order to sustain a life comes from. Mm-hmm. And when it's time, you come into the light.
It's amazing how all that works.
It all is. And we try so hard to deny it. And that's why we struggle. Mm-hmm. When we can just allow what is natural for us, for the earth, like, literally, we can take all the guidance we need from what happens on the planet. Mm-hmm. And we have that guidance system within us. How do you feel? Are you struggling to get through the day? Pay attention to that. What's going on? Where are your thoughts? To go back to Julia, where was her depression coming from? Mm-hmm. It was coming from looking at another person's opinion and behavior. It wasn't coming from what was best for her and what she thought someone else felt about her, instead of what was going on and what she really wanted.
You know, there was something else she said, and it was about expectations, because she loved her dad, and her dad was like her soul. Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's amazing.
So she wanted this guy to be like her dad. He was absolutely nothing like. So she was trying to mold him all these years, being her dad, and he wasn't.
That's the thing about. I mean, this is going to sound so crass, but oh my gosh, I'm so glad she got out of that relationship, because not only do you not want your husband to be your dad, but also, like, when you are starting a relationship based on your expectations of what you, even if it's potential, like, I'll be honest with you, I had to realize, once there was a man who I was in love with for quite a long time, and that's a very much longer story, and we never totally connected, and I struggled, because it was like, but he could, and I realized I wasn't in love with him. I was in love with his potential and what I saw his capabilities of of the man he could be was. That was not the man he chose to be. And while he could, it's his journey, and I have no control over that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, I think we just lost Julie. It's time to go ahead and call it a day anyway. So that happened just in time. Thank you so much for watching Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. So great to have Julia Christine with me. Another thing I wanted to mention, continue sending emails. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. And keep sending those out. There's Julia. She's trying to come back in again. Julia, you know something? You left at just the right time. We're about to go into a call it a day.
Okay.
You must have had a phone call. Sometimes
I don't know. Like, literally, I was like it happened. I was like, oh dear. I just kicked me out. I was like, stop talking.
It was perfect. I was about to say, we got to go. So anyway, again, thank you so much for being with us. It's always a treasure. Now you hang around, okay, so we can plan you for next month.
Absolutely.
And you guys, thank you so much for watching. I know you could be doing anything else, but you're watching us right now. And Julia's an awesome, awesome guest. We'll see you next time around. Have a great one. Bye-bye.